Hi, and today I've got a SQL challenge, a festive Christmas SQL challenge. As I'm recording this, it's 3 days before Christmas 2023. So the question is this: using SQL, can we work out the number of gifts sent during the 12 days of Christmas? Now, the 12 days of Christmas, as pretty sure everyone on the planet knows, is the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree. So day one gift. On the second day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. So 3 gifts in total. On the third day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, partridge in a pear tree. 6 items, and it keeps on going like that up to 12. Okay, so how do we work that out, what our total is going to be using SQL? Well, I'm going to do it using a loop. Okay, so we're going to start by declaring a variable. Declare days. That's going to be an integer, and we're going to start by giving it a value of 1. And what we're going to say is a while days is less than or equal to 12. We're going to begin and end, and this in here is our loop. This is the thing that will loop through. So we're going to start by saying begin, select days. That just puts the value on the screen, and then we need to increment that variable value. So we're going to set days plus equals 1. So what happens is you start off and you say, we'll declare a variable called days, give it a value of 1. Is that value less than or equal to 12? Well, yes, it's 1. So we'll select it, we'll put it on screen, and then we're going to say we're going to change the value of that variable to what it is now plus 1. That's what this here does, plus equals 1. So now that variable is 2. So it gets to the end, goes back here. Is that less than 12? Yes. So it does it again, increments it to 3 and 4 and 5. And eventually it gets to 12. It adds 1, making it 13, and then we say, is that value less than or equal to 12? No. So it breaks out of the loop and stops. So what happens when we run that is this. Okay, so that runs 12 separate queries, each outputting the value of that variable 1 to 12. Okay, so far so good. Now we need to do, for each of those days of Christmas, let's call it as day of CMAS. Okay, each of those days of Christmas, we need to figure out how many gifts were sent on that day. Now, there's a formula for this. So a little story, a bit of a backstory here. I'm going to get Excel up. I was chatting with my daughter the other day, and she is studying astrophysics at Sheffield University, which means that she's a lot smarter than I am. And she said to me, how do you figure out what all the numbers are added up to 100, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, etc., up to 100. And I said, well, I don't know. And she said, well, there's a way of doing it. There's a formula, but here's how you kind of understand that formula. You imagine all the numbers written 1 to 100 in a line. Now, we're going to do it to 5 just to make it easier and quicker. So there's our numbers in a row. Let's put them in a little border. Let's centralize them, make them a bit bigger. Okay. So what you do is you imagine under that line, because you're doing all this in your head, under that line of numbers is the same line of numbers but opposite. So instead of 1 to 100 or 1 to 5, it's 100 to 1, or in this case 5 to 1. So we do this, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now each of those pairs adds up to 6, which is the number we're starting with, our target number, plus 1. So we're going to go 6, 6, 6, 6. Each of those pairs adds up to 6, right? And then at the end we total all our numbers, and that's easy because we know we've got 5 pairs of numbers, and each of those pairs adds up to 6, so it's 5 multiplied by 6. So to get that total gives us 30, and then obviously half of those numbers were fake numbers. We just added those in on top of the numbers we should have had, so there's double the numbers we should have had, so we divide that by 2. So what we do there, divide by 2, and that's our total. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 15. And the formula for figuring that out is our target number, let's call it n. So it's n multiplied by n plus 1 which is this here, divided by 2. Alright, so let's do that in SQL now. So we've got days is our n, so we multiply it by days plus 1, and then divide by 2. Oops, divide by 2. And that's our total. So for day 1, it's just 1 because it's one gift. Day 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. Day 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. Day 4, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. And then we looked at day 5 as in our example, and it's 15. So now we've got for each of our days of Christmas what the total number of gifts were. And on day 12, there was 78 gifts. That's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, etc. up to 12. So now we need to add these totals together. What I'm going to do with that, I'm going to declare another variable. In fact, I'm going to do this with a table variable. So I'm going to call this at result. I'm going to make it as a table variable. I have 2 columns. I'm going to call it day number, which is an int. I'm going to call it gift number, also an int. So that's a table variable. Okay, and what we're going to do here is in our select, instead of just selecting it, we're going to go insert into our table variable result. So what it does, it adds that into that table variable, then it adds that, and then it adds that, and then it adds that, all the way down to 12. So we say select star from our table variable, and what we get is this. So 1, 1, 2 is 3, 3 is 6, 4 is 10, etc. down to day 12. So all we need to do to give us our final result is to do a sum of the gift number column. There's your answer, 364. So I hope you enjoyed that. So that's an example of variables, table variables, loops, and a clever formula as explained to me by my 20-year-old daughter. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Have a great Christmas. See you later.